Ladies and or butterscotch flavored men, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zeno, and before you summon Cantarella, let's talk about briefly what she does, what she might be good for, and what value she might bring to your account. Last time I did this style of video, I made a pros and cons list for Brant. Today I'm going to try something slightly different, another different method, so do let me know if you like what I'm doing here or if it just was helpful overall in general. As always, this is a pre-release video with only the official information released, and this is all also from a casual player's perspective to the game. So if you're interested in a more meta discussion or breakdown of all the numbers with hands-on gameplay and rotations, you might have to seek out other creators on release. Also, there will be a follow-up video to this, just like I did with Brant previously, doing a post-analysis on Cantarella, usually a week or so after she goes live in-game, so feel free to check back to see what I was right or wrong about, and once the community gets their hands on her. God, I wish I could get my hands on a giant jellies. So, first we had Shorekeeper, now we have Jellykeeper. There will be also a dedicated Shorekeeper video as well at a later date, just letting people know now. Some basic information up front about our new Mami, and a brief breakdown of her kit overall, which I will try to do my best. Cantarella is a Havoc unit, which uses a Rectifier weapon. Her main roles in teams will be a sub-DPS and coordinated attacker, who can also buff Havoc damage and skill damage on her outro. She can also heal as well. She actually has very similar qualities to Brant actually, that was just released prior, and even characters like Jeje before that. Cantarella seems fairly straightforward from what I can gather on the official website information. Like always, there is tons of brand new terms in her kit just to confuse everyone when trying to break things down. For example, Mirage State, Delusive Dive, Easy Dream, Diffusion, Dreamweavers, Phantom Sting, Abyssal Vortex, Shadowy Sweep, Perception Drain, Graceful Step, Flowy Suffocation, Trance, Shiver, Abyssal Rebirth, Ripple, Tidal Surge, Gentle Tentacles, Cure, and Poison, and I'm sure I've still missed some of the brand new terms. Are you confused? Because good, I am damn confused as well. So let's keep it simple, yeah? You attack enemies to build up and use her forte, which is a big part of her full kit. Mirage, her basic and skills don't do a whole lot overall. After you enter the Mirage state, again, your forte, which lasts for roughly 8 seconds, which by the way also gives you a really cool watery domain expansion thing, because why the heck not? It looks awesome. Your basic attacks get stronger, your dodges get stronger, using your skill, which can also be counted as an echo skill while being used, is stronger. It can inflict a debuff called Hazy Dream, which reduces the enemy movement speed, although we're not really sure by how much yet. It can also heal the team, and her Liberation summons jellyfish buddies to do off-field coordinated attacks up to a maximum of 21 jellies, which last up to 30 seconds, or the maximum amount of jellies is reached, whichever one comes first. Cantarella's outro boosts Havoc damage by 20%, and Resonance skill damage by 25% for 14 seconds. Note, just like Brant before her, switching units after applying her outro skill actually removes it. It's a one and done buff, so make good use of it and maximize your main DPS's burst windows. Cantarella, just like Brant, has the ability to heal and buff while doing like decently high damage on the field with basic attacks. Her outro is the same, just instead of fusion damage for Brant, it's Havoc damage for Cantarella. One of the few issues at the moment I see with Cantarella is her spot in the game's roster isn't clearly defined at the moment, and she's kind of fighting with some of the other units for similar places, so value-wise, I'm not sure she's a good pickup yet, so let me explain. Cantarella buffs Havoc damage. Great. Cammy, who is also rerunning at the very same time, which naturally for most players you would put 2 and 2 together, right? A Havoc buffer, which can be a sub-DPS and healer, and a Havoc DPS in Cammy. Bam! A match made in heaven, yeah? Well, I'm not really sure about that actually. Cammy focuses on basic attack damage. Cantarella's buff, skill damage. So right there, you're only making use of the Havoc buff, not the skill buff, which isn't the end of the world, to be honest, right? Like, Brant before Cantarella is the same. There is tons of people out there using Brant with a unit like Carlotta, because he buffs the skill damage. So, and there's other teams as well, just for Brant's personal damage, or his heals, or his shields. So it's not like it's an impossible matchup. However, unlike Brant, who is kind of the first proper fusion sub-DPS support combo character, Rosia already exists for the Havoc element. Rosia released early in 2.0, and she also has the 20% Havoc buff, but she also has a 25% basic attack damage buff, and she also has some of the best grouping and AoE in the game as of current. So for an AoE unit like Cammy, it's a no-brainer that Rosia is going to be her best in slot. Rosia also gives a small attack buff to the whole team on her liberation as well. This creates kind of an issue for me. If you pull Cantarella just for the sake of having a full Havoc team of limited units, Rosia, Cammy, and now Cantarella, even with a small casual brain of limited knowledge on this game, I'm not 100% sure how those rotations work in practice, and if it's even worth replacing a Verena or a Shorekeeper to heal and buff. Cantarella wants to outro to a DPS as her buffs disappear once you swap off. Rosia does heavy attack damage, Cammy does basic attack damage, so the skill damage just doesn't fit into either of these characters. Rosia has the same issues. Her outro buff wears off. Now, you could use a rotation, maybe, like I'm just spitballing here, like Cantarella, you outro to Rosia, you give her a damage amp with the Havoc buff, although again, you're missing the skill damage. Then after that, you outro to Cammy, which you get double buffs from Rosia. By then, your coordinated attacks are probably wearing off from Cantarella with your DPS window with Cammy, and it won't be as strong, but maybe that won't matter as much though when Cantarella's coordinated attacks actually fit into the rotations. It's not like Cammy uses them specifically, and then once Cammy's DPS is over, Cantarella can swap back in, she can heal the team up, and you can kind of just start again. I think that'll be okay, but it's pretty obvious Cantarella is suffering from her best in slot Havoc DPS just hasn't been released yet. That doesn't mean you can't use her, of course. Like, heck, if Cantarella's own personal DPS is high enough, you can also find ways to buff her using other supports and maybe just make her a main DPS for a fun little team. Kind of like Brant prior. Try her in skill damage-based teams as well as like a flex slot. I'm sure there'll be plenty of ways people will find to make her work perfectly well enough on release until the day we get another Havoc DPS that focuses on skill damage. Otherwise, just why was her kit created in the first place? And let's be honest, that unit is most likely Pavlova. She screams the Havoc element to me. Another thing to note, as Cantarella seems to focus a lot on building up her forte, doing upgraded basic attacks and skills to do damage, debuff, heal. Not quite sure how long her field time is. I feel like there might be longer than Brant's actually, which, as we haven't actually met Cantarella in-game yet until she releases with the brand new story and the companion quest, we haven't had a chance to demo her kit, kind of like Brant was available in the 2.1 fishing event briefly. So it's kind of really hard to say how she'll fit into things firsthand, so we'll have to wait for guide makers on day and week 1 to see kind of how she turns out. Cantarella also doesn't seem to be tied to her best in slot signature weapon quite as much, and it's called Whispers of the Sirens, as Brant was prior to his sword, which is just fantastic. I'm so glad that this is a thing. The weapon itself is crit damage focused, which leans more into Cantarella's personal DPS, and its passive heavily inspires echo usage for the different stacks, which is Cantarella only in the game right now. So unless you plan to invest vertically into Cantarella, I'm not sure this is the best rectifier to pick up, as you can't use it in many other places, or well, just anybody at all at the moment outside of her. You can maybe use it as a stat stick, but I feel like if you need a stat stick, just wait until Yinlin's one-day return again for the String Master, which is like universally super strong for any rectifier user that does decent damage. Truth be told though, without knowing the calcs from theory crafters and guide makers, I feel like the Cosmic Ripples, the standard 5-star, will actually be a very strong free-to-play option for her, as it boosts basic attack damage by a lot in its passive, which is most of Cantarella's attacks. It doesn't have a crit stat, but it also gives a massive attack boost in return, and it gives some ER as well to help make sure she gets the liberation off more consistently. I think that's what I would personally use, as I'm currently sitting on enough standard pulls to get whatever weapon I want, and I still haven't chosen one yet since I started the game. As for the echo sets you might want to use on Cantarella, I tried to research into what people are thinking pre-release, and this is a weird one. Like, it is all over the place. Cantarella does so many damn different things in terms of havoc damage, coordinated attacks, healing, buffing. There's like a case to be made maybe for like 4 different echo sets in the Midnight Veil, the Empyrean Anthem, the Rejuvenating Glow, the Havoc Eclipse. Who knows what else that I'm probably not thinking of off the top of my head. I'm staying out of this one. Like, I'm sorry if this isn't very helpful, but you're gonna have to check the deep dives from other creators that might make videos on like day one and guide makers. All in all, I think Cantarella will be a great unit, and let's be honest, guys, like sex appeal alone, she is going to sell based off of that, like regardless of how good or not her overall kit is. But as it stands right now, as much as I really want Jelly Keeper so badly, value-wise, Shorekeeper is the next banner right after her, and she is basically a must-pull unit for every player that wants to take their account and favorite units to the next level. So sadly, I myself will be skipping, again, even though I love her design for obvious reasons. I love Jellyfish Umbrellas, I pointed that out in my drip marketing video. She looks really fun to play, I love her animations, but she just kind of doesn't fit into my account at the moment, as I don't have a single Havoc unit built or summoned yet. And to be honest, I don't really plan to go for Pavlova if she is the ideal best in slot for Cantarella in the future. So for now, Cantarella, we hardly knew you. That about wraps up today's casual video. Remember, if you like what I do here, just giving you my very average opinion in some very casual content, like the video so YouTube thinks it doesn't totally suck, subscribe if you're new, join the Discord to talk to the community there, or just become a member of the channel like all the beautiful people on screen right now have. It's less than $3 a month, and this helps me greatly in the work that I'm trying to do here, so thank you so much, much love. With that all being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So thank you very much for watching and or listening, and as always, my name is Zeno, and you guys take care now.